So why we meet? One of the reasons why we meet, when we look at the word meet and the idea of assembling and coming together, the church, remember, we live in a day and time where we do a lot of work digitally. And the digital world has opened up a lot of avenues to connect with people. And many of us love the idea of the digital space because it affords us the convenience of getting to and being in meetings where we don't have to be there physically. And that part, although it has been a benefit, it's also brought a little bit of confusion within the confines of the church, because now it's brought out the idea of we don't really need to gather physically. And we argue that, and it's not just affected unbelievers. Really what it's affected is many believers. If you look at many of your own church attendance, even those of you who are streaming, it has gone down remarkably, because in your mind you say, I can get it, I can watch it later, I can stream it, I can catch it on my phone. And so how do we argue? Once again, we have the technology that affords us a convenience and that affords us opportunity in those times when we are distant, in those times when we can't make it. But then how do we argue? And Dr. Moody, why do you stress and why do you tell us to make sure that we come out to certain things? Because we're having Bible study tonight, right? We're having church on Sunday morning. And do you know, guess what? Next week, we're going to have church on Sunday night, on Monday night, on Tuesday night, and listen, and that's for the prophet. Then, again, get this, on Wednesday night, we're going to have Bible study. Now, some of us are going to say, that's crazy. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, that's too much God. And so we want to answer this question looking at the idea of kingdom citizenship, because it does seem like too much God when you look at life through the lens of church membership versus church citizenship. And so we want to argue this idea from the idea of church citizenship, because the Bible tells us in Philippians 3:20 that our citizenship is in heaven. Membership means that we look at the church gathering through the benefit, get this, through the benefit of us. What does it benefit me to come out? What am I getting? So when we look at gathering through the lens of membership, we're always thinking about what are my benefits. Now, and so I don't get no extra benefit from Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday. I got all the benefit I need. And so when we look at it through church membership, we look at the idea of coming around church just to pick what I need. I need a little encouragement. So, man, I feel encouraged. So I got enough encouragement to go throughout the week. I don't need Sunday night. I don't need Wednesday. I don't need a prophet to come on there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or whatever else. I just needed one word. He gave it to me on Sunday night. I got it. Good. Now, so when we look at the idea of church, remember, I always tell people that the word church is not in the Old Testament. So the idea of church is not there. But the idea of the assembly is there. And the Hebrew word gahal is this main word. The Hebrew word gahal means assembly. So when they gathered at Mount Sinai, when Moses gathered people together, this was called the gahal. Some Hebrew writings spell it Kahal. But the idea is it's an assembly or a summoning out. A summoning out. Remember, we talked about convocations last week. Convocation is a Hebrew term, moed. Moed means a sacred call or a sacred meeting. So now we have a gahal, which is the gathering of people, but it's different than a moed. A moed is a sacred call where God demands his people separately to come out for a special occasion. Am I making sense? So a gahal is more of a general assembly of people, but now, once again, it still has the idea of God's appointment and God's divine time and everything else. So when we look at a gahal or an assembly, it still is around the idea of God calling me. Now, once again, why is this important? It's not important when you think about membership. Because when they have a membership meeting, you say, I'll come if it means something to me. But it's very important when it's in terms of citizenship. When my king calls, that's different than when they say, hey, there's a general meeting about for all the black men who going bald, meeting over here. And you say, well, I'm not going bald. I don't need nothing. I like being bald. I'm straight. I'm going to hair club for men. I got some Rogaine. I'm getting some hair implants. My barber knows how to spray hair on top of my head. Whatever your issue is. Whatever your issue is. And you say, I don't need that. That's more general. But when you say, listen, the king has summoned me. Am I making sense? And so our problem is when we think about church, what we think about it, we view it through the eyes of membership. So we don't think about a sacred assembly to which we are called. Think about it. Listen, the governor of Texas can call a special legislation where he calls people from all over Texas to come back to Austin for 30 days and work on this one thing. And then get this, if they don't meet what he wants, he can do another 30 days and make them do it again. So that means all these men and all these women from all over this state can be summoned based upon the call of their leader to gather for a sole purpose or a divine appointment. Am I making sense? So when I think about it, when I think about the gahal or the assembly, I'm going to think about it wrong unless I think about governance. And governance means that when my governor, when my leader, when my king has called me, then based upon my citizenship, I then have the obligation to come and meet. Am I making sense? So gahal is not just a casual thing, but it's an organized assembly of people who have a covenantal relationship. So that means this. You don't have to come if you're not in covenant. Come on, man. Am I making sense? Because the covenant says that based upon the covenant, you are my leader. And my leader then says, come, so I come. But if I'm not in covenant, you are not my leader, so I will not listen to you, so I can be where I'm going to be. So could you imagine if we viewed church gatherings as gahals, where now my king has summoned me to come, and he has told me to stop whatever you're doing and come and listen because I have something to say. Understand this, at a gahal, at an assembly, you're not doing God a favor. It is not a question of loyalty or convenience. It's a question of covenant. Now, Joshua 18:1. Now the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh. So when they would have a gahal, they wouldn't be like, well, tell him I'm busy. The entirety of the nation would come. Men, women, and children would come. Am I making sense? Yes, sir. So what was the function? They had a religious function. So notice now. Look at the plurality of functions that gahal had, and think about government. You don't think about church this way, but if you thought about church this way or gatherings, you would operate differently. A gahal had a religious functioning. It was there for worship and to talk about, man, God has shown us something, so we come together. But there also was a civic function. It was the time where they would discuss laws and ratification of laws and decisions about how they were governed. So he would say, everybody come together, so we got to talk about this decision. And this is how we operate from now on. Am I making sense? So religious, civic, judicial, that means that they would say, from now on, according to our resolution, this is how we administer justice from this day forth. So imagine they're passing laws. They're telling you how to operate. And then also it has a social function. So the gahal was not just church gathering where you got to sit there and hear a pastor, but it was like socially, I got to connect to get my identity as a community. Civically, I got to learn how to get along with everybody. Judicially, I got to learn what the laws say. Religiously, I got to worship God. So during the gahal, this is all that happened. So think about it. That means during a church service, you're supposed to be getting information on all of this. Who is God and who are you? How do you operate with one another and have governance in the church? Who's acting right and who's acting wrong? What rules, what are we saying is in, what are we saying is out? And then how do I get along with you and stay functional with you as a church body? That's what's supposed to be happening. So when you're listening to a message, you're not listening for them. Come on, man. You're not saying, ooh, they need to be here for this. Oh, my God. Brother so-and-so should have been here for this. Oh, this message is for him. No, baby, this message is for you. Now, so now, when you look at the gahals in the Old Testament, just a few of them, just to look at this. So look at this, Felicia. They received the law at Mount Sinai. It was the gahal. So you missed the 10 Commandments. Moses came down with the tablets. And you was like, ooh, I was so tired that day, Pastor. When they had to renew the covenant in Joshua, when Joshua said, okay, now, y'all this second generation, now I got to talk to y'all about this covenant. We got to renew this because we done messed up. Everybody come. You would have been at home because your allergies kicked in. Woo, today. It was too hot today. I went to get outside. I said, woo, it's so hot. Oh, Lord. King Josiah talked about national reforms. He said the nation shall repent. Our whole nation has missed God, and they got to repent. And this occurred during an assembly. During Ezra and Nehemiah, when they rebuilt Jerusalem, after they rebuilt Jerusalem, they stopped and said, now, pull out the writings of Moses. So thousands of years after Moses has died, they just come out of exile. And they rebuilt the city. And now they said, now we got the walls, we got the temple, we got everything. Now pull out them laws. Everybody stand still. We're finna read this to you because this is where we messed up last time and we're not gonna do it again. But it was at an assembly. Am I making sense? So think how many times you missed service, not because of an emergency. You just missed the gahal because you decided that you didn't want to drive the extra 5 minutes. You said, ooh, I already passed the exit. I ain't going back. I ain't going back. And and then they had seasonal festivals and everything. So now, all these times, you would have missed Pentecost because Pentecost was so when the church was being birthed, you was at home asleep, taking a nap. 3,000 souls came to Christ. It would have been 3,002, but you and your wife was on a trip. So, Dr. Moody, gahal, gahal, this assembly, there was another word, I think it's edad, or edud, it literally means, ehud, E-H-U-D, I think that's what it is, another Hebrew word, and it means even a more intimate assembly. So they had all these assemblies where God would call them. So, in the Greek Septuagint, let me think. Who am I talking to? I can't say Greek Septuagint to everybody. Okay, let me slow down. So in the Old Testament, they had a gahal, right? Y'all know that, right? That's Hebrew. So the question is, well, Dr. Moody, how did we get to the idea of church? Where they come from? How do you go from a gahal to church. Well, when Alexander the Great comes along and he decides to Hellenize the world or make the whole world speak Greek, they decide that they're going to get rid of the Hebrew language and the Hebrew culture. And so now, at this time, the entire Old Testament is written in Hebrew. So as they go to destroy these people and destroy their culture, many of the people took the original writings and the scrolls written in Hebrew, and they went and they hid them in big canisters and vases, and then they sealed them up in clay vases, and they went into the desert and hid them in caves because they were destroying their homes, they were killing everybody, and they wanted to keep the text and keep the sacred text, right? So they went and hid them. This is where you find the Dead Sea Scrolls, when you hear about that term. Because they go and the archaeologist actually was a sheep herder, little kid who was hanging out with some sheep, and he was a little boy, and he went to throw rocks, and he threw rocks, and something sounded real hollow, so he went into a cave and he found this canister and he opened it up, and it was the original writings of Isaiah. And so then the archaeologists came and started digging all around there, around the Dead Sea, and that's where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so, and they found all these, they were written in Hebrew. So when they had the text written in Hebrew, the question was, well, then the Jewish writers had to then convert all these Hebrew texts into Greek. And so they got 70 scribes, 70 experts, and they took all the Hebrew texts, and they said, convert these from Hebrew, because y'all are the only few people who know Hebrew, and convert them to Greek. And so they took 70 men, and they put them all in separate rooms. So they couldn't convert. They couldn't say, well, what'd you say? Well, I'm going to say the same thing you said. And so, and these 70 men then came out, and when they gave out their translations, they were all exactly the same. And that's where you get the term the Septuagint. That literally means the 70. So when the 70 people translated Hebrew to Greek, they translated the word gahal, the Hebrew word, into the Greek word ekklesia. The Greek word ekklesia is the word that we use for church. Out, klesia, called. So when you look at the church is the called out, ekklesia. That's how you get the translation from gahal to ekklesia. Does that make sense to you? So whenever you're doing your Bible study and you see in Roman numerals 70, it's talking about the Septuagint, the 70. Or whenever they say the 70, you're like, I don't know what that means. Now you know. It is where they translated from Hebrew to Greek and those 70 scribes. So now.
Thank you for worshiping with us today. If you liked this message, you can find the rest at cmllcstore.com. We invite you to join us again for our extraordinary worship services every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, where Dr. Moody teaches how to understand the Bible, and you can get all your biblical questions answered. We look forward to connecting with you. We ask that you subscribe to the Rock ATX on YouTube and follow the Rock ATX on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to all the Rock is doing. You can also get connected on our website at therockatx.org. Again, thank you for worshiping with us, and be blessed.